Welcome to my daily review. Today is Monday, October 7th. You're looking at the Nasdaq, a daily chart, which shows it was down 214 points or 1.18% on 5% below the average daily volume. The Nasdaq has been the weaker index that Dow Jones, New York Stock Exchange, the S&P 500 have been all stronger and near highs. And the Nasdaq has not. We've seen leadership from Apple, Microsoft, Google, Meta. The hyperscalers have, you know, trailed off here, and there's other industry groups that are performing better. We've seen the energy groups, the insurance and other areas do well, building materials, and the tech stocks have taken a step back after, driving the train for a long time since the end of the bear market in October of 2022. So 2023, the tech stocks ran. 2024 has had a good year, but just recently, this rally has not been as strong for the Nasdaq as it has been for the S&P and the Dow. Anyway, it was down, but it closed right at just a tick above its 10, 0.4% above the 21, and 2.6% above its 50. And you just want to keep it above the 50. And of course, you like to see a bounce off the 10 like it did, excuse me, off the 21 like it did on Friday. That was a nice 219 point bounce, but give it all back today, didn't it? Yep. So it's going back and forth, kind of volatile. A lot of uncertainty, and it's being reflected in the charts here. I did mention the SPY, and this has been a stronger index, you can see, but it closed 0.4% above its 21 and 2.5% above its 50. This is the 50, but near highs. So, anytime an index gets near highs, you can expect some pullback. Let me go to the SPY here because it'll give me 1.2% off its 52-week high. So that's not bad. And same with the DIA, 1.5% off its 52-week high. So anytime you get near highs in an index, which it made this high this day, 426. I guess I should go to the Dow Jones Industrial Average here and show the actual, not the exchange. Here it is, 42,628 was the high on September 27th. Keeps bumping along here, the 10, and doing nothing wrong. I mean, it pulled back a little bit today, but you got to expect some profit taking when you're near highs, and we got that today. The IWM has been the weakest of the indexes, the small caps, and it's at just 1.2% above this 50 here. So, yeah, I'm going to move on to stocks because I trade stocks. There was a lot going on today, um, especially with the hurricanes. I'm going to get to that. The weather and the oil, there's a lot of moving parts, and we're just seeing rotation out of certain areas and into others. This is an Apple, it sliced its 50 today with lighter volume, but it doesn't matter if you hold it and it slices the 50. That's never good. Microsoft has been in a slump for a while now, below its 200. Like I said, these stocks that were leading in 2023 and much of 24 now, you can see that just kind of going sideways, and they're not leading anymore. There's other stocks doing much better. Meta, this is the strongest of the Magnificent Seven, was down 11 points today, or nearly 2%, just pulling back. It still looks healthy above its 10 EMA. Tesla, they're going to have a news item here. The deliveries were not as strong as they had hoped, and it's just finding support there at the 21, closed 1.4% above the 21. That looks like a nice cup with handle there. And Tesla, Amazon downgraded today. There was a ton of downgrades this morning. I couldn't believe it when I was looking at the charts. It was like 4 pages of downgrades. So the analysts were busy, and it sure came to fruition in the market as there was a lot of selling. Amazon down $5 or 3%, just a tick above its 50 there. Just consolidating in the base. No great shakes for the Mag 7. So I'm going to move on and just First, I guess I'm going to go negative first because there's a lot of selling. The insurance companies I mentioned has been really strong. This is Ryan with that buy point there at 69.03. It pulled back to its 10 today, doing nothing wrong, but it's a 3% sell-off. Aflac, with the duck, Aflac, pulled back to its 10, closed just a tick below the 10. Allstate looked a little worse. It had sliced its 50, and Gallagher has just been struggling. It sliced its 50, and now the 50 is acting as resistance for Gallagher. So that's a little tough. And my favorite insurance ticker symbol, bro, traded down to its 50 today. It's done this before here, so we'll see if it finds support. But they were certainly weak. And I can't go too much further without mentioning China. China was all over the place today. And I saw Goldman Sachs banging the table for China stocks, and that always I'm a little skeptical of Goldman Sachs. And so it was hit and miss today in the China stocks. This is FXI, the ETF, which I would rather play China with an ETF. And this one, got to go to the weekly here, just breaking out of a stage one base. This is like 4 weeks in a row here where that one looks really strong. KWEB, another exchange traded fund, internet exchange traded fund, broke out of that stage one base 3 weeks ago, and then last week, I should say 2 weeks ago, then last week up by 13% and still rallied today. But there were some individual names here that didn't fare all that well. This is BEKE down nearly 6%. And that's why I say it's really hard to own these individual names. They're really super volatile. This is JD. It was still flat on the session. Tiger, TIGR, I think it made a new high, then reversed lower. Yeah, down 7.5%. So, like I say, if you're holding these individual names, you need some Maalox or something. This is scary rides here. This is FUTU, another financial name, broke out. And I think you got to look at the weekly here and just kind of forget about them. If you look at them every day, it's kind of scary. But FUTU is definitely heading in the right direction. And there's just a lot of them. Baba, yeah, nice move today, up 2.6%. I guess I got to go to the daily. Yeah, Baba looks good. PDD, it's made a move and now just kind of consolidating, making a shelf here. But a lot of names here. The index has been closed. It'll reopen, and AT&T is another one. AT, excuse me, up 4% today. That one looks good as well. Leisure lodging stock. You can see it broke out a long time ago before the stimulus. And that looks pretty darn good for AT, and that's got nice growth numbers here. So that's it for the China names. I've got to get to some of the leaders now. This is VST. This is the top performing stock in the S&P 500. It made a new high in the morning and then reversed lower. And that's exactly what you don't want to see if you own it. But if you don't own it and want to get into it, that's exactly what you do want to see. So I had to sell mine today. I was trimming last week, and when it undercut the low of that 132.80 from Friday, I just said adios, muchachos. Why? Because I can always buy it back if I want to. And 82 to 132 is a good trade. And sometimes I just feel like I'm getting greedy. So the weekly bar, not even close. I think it's like 114. The low from last week was 114.84. So no chance on taking out the weekly bar, and the monthly bar is like $70 or something. Yeah, $72. So it's got a long way to go. But to me, it just broke out from 107. It ran up to 140 something, 143. Most stocks are going to form some sort of a base here, a shelf of some sort. But this is a leading stock, and I want to own leading stocks, right? Like AppLovin, and if I'm in the drug names, I want to own the top drug stocks. I'm in the energy, I want to own top energy stocks. If I'm in technology, I want to own the top technology stocks. Why own the B and C and D stocks? You want to own A stocks. And there's nothing wrong with this stock, that this is expected behavior. I shouldn't say there's nothing wrong. That's a horrific looking bar. It looks to me like it's going to form a base, maybe of some kind, like a little shelf pattern here sideways. When a stock breaks out from a pivot area, I usually expect it 90% of stocks are going to go up 20 to 25%, form another base, some sort of a base, a flat base, a double bottom base, a cup with handle base, a cup base. It doesn't matter. A shelf, a 3 weeks tight. It's going to consolidate it in some form or another and allow the moving averages to catch up. And I think that's probably what will happen here. This is a strong stock. This is in demand. People want to own it. There was just some profit taking today. That bar just scares me when it makes a high and reverses like that and closes, near the low of the session. That tells me that's probably going to be in timeout for a little bit, and that's okay. It made its move, right? And if it just goes sideways for a couple days or even a couple weeks and allows these moving averages to catch up, it's going to allow people who who weren't in on that trade to get in. So this one's a one to watch. This one's providing an opportunity. We got it as it broke above that downtrend line and made a nice run there. So I'm not saying the run's over, not at all. I'm just saying it just needs to digest some of these gains. There's nothing wrong with that. Constellation, another one in this group, kind of backed up a little bit today. Not as a horrific looking bar as VST, but definitely a bearish engulfing candle there on CEG. TLN is another one. It's been really strong. Another bearish engulfing candle here as it pulls back to its 10. Definitely one to watch though. And this is what I expect from VST. Not the end of the world. Just go sideways for a little bit. Allow the moving averages to catch up. So I'm definitely watching this one as well. TLN, Talon Energy. And the last one I'm going to look at, I think, in the energy group is GE Vernova. And this one, I believe it was downgraded last Friday and still, handled it well, had an inside day. But you can see this shelf here. And this is what I expect from VST. A little shelf and then popped higher today, 4%. So that's a nice move. And you can see the alternative energy group is the number 3 group, which has Constellation in it. And a couple others down here that I'm not going to get into. SMR was one that I was looking at. New Scale. Yeah, that's a nice looking base there for new scale. But anyway, VST definitely one to watch. It had a nice pullback today. Look for it to allow the moving averages to catch up before you get in. And if you want to buy this thing, like I could buy it back again later this week if I like. I'm looking for a bounce off a moving average. I'm not just going to buy every dip. You don't buy dips, you buy bounces off the dips. All right. Moving on. Oh, the cryptocurrency or digital currency stocks were performing pretty well today. This is MicroStrategy trading above this downtrend line here as it popped today. It was up to over 190, closed. I don't want to say at the lows of this session because I know it was at like 178. Closed at the mid-range, 55% of the daily range, but definitely one to watch there. MicroStrategy. What was the other one I was looking at? Hood is another one of these. Yeah, it was up nearly 2%. And then Coinbase. Not so hot for Coinbase. Okay. All right. Anyway, I know what it was. It was CORZ. This is one that was set up. Yeah, a little nicer setup here. That wedge pattern as it pulls back to the 21. You can tell I'm a little disjointed today. There you go. Pull back to the 21 and made a nice, decent move. Still there at that 1225 buy point there. That's your pivot. So, yeah, definitely watching course. All right. I'm going to move on. So a couple software names that I like. AppLovin. I think I mention this like every day. Definitely a leader in the software names. There's, ServiceNow, and there's Oracle, and there's a lot of bigger name stocks, but this one's performed really well. You can see it just broke out from that 91.91 and just romped higher. And on a day like today, trading higher, that's a good thing. BERX, I did put this one on the regular list there at that 40. $5, definitely an area of interest here, and just had an inside day today, a quiet day. Yeah, not bad with the Nasdaq being down so much. That one's holding up well. Another one I like is ZETA. ZETA doing nothing wrong. Yeah, just pulling back. I mean, it's near new highs. Like I said, stocks and indexes when they're near new highs, this is 5% off its high. Then you're going to see some profit taking, rotation into other areas. So anyway, I've got to mention um, well, a couple names here. First, SMCI. They did the split, 10-for-1 split. They announced new products today and popped pretty decently, up 15%. I would say that's a nice move, but still below all moving averages and just trying to carve out a bottom there around that $40 level. And the other one was Vertiv Holdings. This one got upgraded today, and this has got a nice cup with handle. Uh, the buy point here is the high in the handle right there, about 103.69, I believe it is, from September 26th. You see that nice wedge pattern that I've been talking about. This one didn't wedge back to its 21, just back to its 10, found support. Now it's been up like 4 days in a row on below average volume. So you want to see a real pop with volume here. If the market, cooperates, maybe Vertiv can do something like VST did. Let's hope so. And then the other one is MU, kind of this hardware names were doing pretty well today. Micron's got a lot of work to do. Did not fill that gap there. That's a little concerning below the 200. Yeah, pretty rough for that group. Okay, I got to talk about the drugs. NVO, they got tired of dealing with, I think, the US and the FTC. They announced a manufacturing plant in Brazil today. They're going to refurbish an old plant. And I don't know how long this is really going to take to get this thing up and running, but it's not building from scratch and it's not a takeover like Catalent, like they don't need permission. They're just taking over a building for more manufacturing. Their whole problem is manufacturing. I think by the looks of this chart, it's kind of telling you that I don't think that Catalent deal is going to go very well for them, or they're going to just demand that they lower their prices to a point where their margins are going to get squished. So Novo looks terrible, but was up on that news. Lilly looking a lot better than Novo, trying to recapture its 50 here. These are the weight loss drugs, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. Yeah, closing range of 56%. So in the middle of it, the daily range, and it's closed right at the 50. So Eli is definitely one to watch. A couple other drug names that I like. This one is on my regular list. I believe this one to me looks like it's ready to break out here. It's just, itching to go here. It's got this little shelf pattern, pulled back to its 10 EMA, popped last week, and then pulled back just slightly today, 11 cents. I guess that's not much of a pullback. There you can see it. The last week's move, excuse me for toggling around like this. I like to get close in and see. Yeah, it was up nearly 5% last week. But you can see these big moves on earnings here. On earnings, yeah, 30% in a week. So when this one moves, it really moves. So definitely keeping an eye on that one. A couple other in the group. HIMS, this has got the compounders from Novo and Eli. It was up 10% today on pretty strong volume. I don't even know what this one does. But it definitely, made a nice move. Low price stock, micro cap, 188 billion, but breaking out of this spacer. So, I know this is up. Stocks up on volume. That's where I found that one. All right, Ness. Okay, this one ridiculous move here on. Believe it was data. So trial. Okay, I've got to move on because what's really making a move is the oil and gas stocks. And there's I think the WTI West Texas crude went from like $67 like 10 sessions ago to $77. And the stocks are reflecting the price of the commodity. This is ExxonMobil. You can see that buy point there, stage one. This is a big component of the XLE, and the XLE was only sector up today. Gosh, I was going to put this on my ready list there at 123.75. I go, Exxon's a slow mover, not going anywhere, but I think that's still actionable right there at 125. A couple other names that I do like, a little slower mover, Magnolia. Nice, run up straight up from the bottom here through its moving averages. Looks pretty decent, up a 0.5% today. CNX is another one that I like. Yeah, this one's just grinding higher, making new highs, up 1%. What other ones? I wrote a bunch of them down. EOG. This is another of these U.S. exploration stocks, building a base. You can get it. Gosh, I'm kind of late to these. This broke above this downtrend line here last week. So, time to get it. Time to get it, Marty, right around 134 right there. As long as oil's going up and we have these geopolitical events and this Hurricane Milton in Florida looks like it's going to cause some problems. So you folks in the South, be safe down there in Georgia and North Carolina and Florida, and looks like it's going to hit and do some damage. So say a prayer for the folks down there. FANG is another one that I kind of missed here. I shouldn't say I missed it. It's just double bottom base. And it's probably just the start of a move here. You can see in this green here, this double bottom made a low, retested that low there. It didn't retest, it tested the low and the low held. So it passed the test, made this double bottom base pattern. Now it's at the old, buy point of 199.26. I mean, right there. So you're going to see some of these oil and gas showing up on our ready list. Now, another IPO stock that I like is LB. Barnes is good too. Look at that one, the metal fabrication stock. LB, this is an oil and gas IPO. They just priced it too low. This thing ran up to 43, pulled back, and now it's being supported by its moving average. Just an inside day today, but a stock I definitely like. And the last one in the oil and gas names, Frontline. I mean, shoot, definitely broke above this downtrend line here last week. But still, I would have to say that buy area is around that 25.65 is fine. And even 26.53, as it looks like it wants to climb back to that 29 area. So keeping my eye on Frontline. This is one of the oil and gas transportation pipeline stocks, which we're seeing a lot of strength in the pipeline names. This is Kinder Morgan. You can see on the weekly, it broke out of this base, made a high last week, and just looks fantastic. Kinder Morgan. Let me see here. Oh, and LNG, of course. Another one of these pipeline stocks. The group is moving up. You can see this one broke out from that 187 area. And then GLNG. So this is liquid natural gas transportation, 187.44. Those two both look good. So yes, you're going to see those creeping up on our ready list here. All right. I'm going to get to some retail. Retail got slaughtered today. I mean, you look at Crocs. They don't need any reason to sell it. People are asking, why are these retail names down? You don't need a reason to sell. They don't need a reason to sell. It's just rotation, and these stocks are out of favor. Deckers did get downgraded today, so that one got whacked nearly 5%. ON was kind of weak as well, pulled back to its 10, down 2.5%. But some of the retail names just really getting hammered. Ulta, just gosh, looks terrible. Elf, just a total downward spiral here. Elf tested that 100 level today. I don't know if it went below it. 110 cents. So maybe it'll hold there at 110, but the shorts are definitely having their way with the little elf. Yeah, retail just got slaughtered. Couple of names that did okay. Coupang, this one broke out from that wedge pattern, which we've seen, right? With the indexes doing that, the stocks are doing that. Pull back to the 21. Nice pop there for CPNG, and then Maple Bear. Another pullback. We see this pullback to moving average pop today. nearly 4%. Oh, Carvana made a new high. People buying cars, I guess, and then pulled back, ended up flat on the session. Still looks pretty good. Napa, this is Dan Duckhorn, selling out his business here, is up 100%. So congrats to the Duckhorns up there in Napa. VSTO was up. They sold a couple of their businesses and popped nicely out of that 4111 area. So you could see the RS, but I don't like buying stocks just on M&A, but they sold, I think, two of their businesses. So anyway, that one looks pretty strong. And I'm just going to end it there and say thank you for watching. Kind of a strange day on the market. It was up 220. The Nasdaq was up 220 on Friday and then gave back, 220 today. So actually going nowhere yet, down 213 today when it was up, I'm going to say 219 on Friday. So going absolutely nowhere. That's sideways action. Pretty volatile though. So good for traders, but you kind of want to see it calm down a little bit. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Except for an order and honor of the great Steve Jobs. I do have one more thing. And that is, we got to think about the people down south, the hurricane in Florida, Milton, and obviously you want to stay safe. You want to head to higher ground. You want to get the heck out of there. You don't want to just sit there and be a sitting duck for when this thing gathered a lot of steam quickly. But stocks that do well when we have, disasters and power goes out, fires. This is Generac. They got the generators right. So this stock does really, really well when we have disasters, and it was up 8 something% today with volume. That's just quick money, hot money, Momo traders, digging into a crisis, and we don't know how long it's going to last, and it could turn into big sales for Generac, and they could be reporting stronger quarters going forward with these disasters. But it's just kind of hot money. MTZ, Mastic. This is a building construction stock, and this one always does well when in crisis as well. This one you can see it had that little wedge pattern, pull back to the 10 pound support. And that one's been bouncing. BECN is a roofing company. Popped today because the crisis and the hurricane. So definitely going to need new roofs. RPM is another one with the DAP, the roofing sealants and adhesive. I know they make DAP and Rust-Oleum, just things that you're going to need, to repair homes, and so that stock is up as well. So just thinking of how do you say, collateral plays. Obviously the human carnage is the most important thing. And I'm just pointing out, some stocks that behave well in a crisis. So anyway, saying a prayer for you folks in the South. Hope all goes well and you survive and get what you need. Anyway, at mcstockcharts.com, we never give up. Thank you for watching.